All right, everybody, welcome to the first episode of It Is What It Is. I'm your host, Leo, and with me I have my co-host, Jonathan,
What's up, everyone? Welcome to It Is What It Is.
and also George.
All right, let's get it going, guys.
So yeah, for our first episode, we decided to be about how we met and basically kind of take us to how we even got to that place. And for us, that would be college. And so I'm curious to know, like, why did you guys even consider going to college, or what got you there, basically?
Peer pressure, 100%.
So you're saying that your mom was like, "You're going or you're going"?
Oh, my teacher too. It was just my mom.
Yeah, for me, I think. Well, I guess, do your parents are they like educated, like college educated people, or are they more?
I would say honestly, myself, like a lot of other people, I guess, that come from immigrant families. I was a first generation, so a lot of weight on my shoulders. When I say peer pressure, it is mostly that.
Yeah.
That your family, your generations behind you, expect you to do the best that you can, in your academics. So,
Did they ever force you though to like a specific career going into it, or no?
No, I wouldn't say career. I think the only goal was to graduate high school and then find yourself a good college. I mean, obviously you have your stereotypical, like your usual, be a doctor, be an engineer, be a lawyer, those, the 4 or 5 careers that everyone knows about.
I don't know. I actually didn't know about. I guess no. I take it back. I didn't know about engineering. I just didn't know that there was so many branches of. Like when I was told about engineering, I think it was more about engineer. Like I thought, like when you would go into college, it would be like, oh, engineering. You just sign up for that, and that's all you need to do. I didn't know there was like, it's kind of tough. How about you, Jonathan? With you?
In my case, very similar peer pressure in the sense that I'm the youngest of 4 brothers. All my brothers went to college. My mom went to college, so she had always instilled in us, like, you have to go to college. You have to go to college. That's what you do if you want, a future, if you want a job, if you want,
Right.
classic
Quote, success.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which, going to college doesn't necessarily guarantee anything, really, especially, in nowadays. But it is.
That's why we're
it
starting
is.
the podcast.
Yeah. But I am definitely grateful that I got that push to actually go to college. Yeah, but basically that's why. Very traditional, basic.
For me, it was kind of interesting because I don't know how much it was forced. I mean, I know you said peer pressured, but for me, I guess, so my mom did go to college, but it took a lot of my grandpa to really get my mom to college because, I think she was the first generation in the family to actually go to college. And for my dad's side, actually, that's a different story. But like, if sticking to my mom's side, they didn't really have a lot of money to, let's say, like, send somebody to college. And just the fact that somebody would be like saying like, well, actually, we want you to go to college. We don't know how much it's going to cost, but we hear it's a good thing. So that's how she started, right?
Yeah.
So when my mom, I guess for me, she never really said, you have to go to college. I think maybe it's because she had the idea of, it's expensive, right, to go to college.
Yeah.
But she, at the bare minimum, she always kind of tried to like be like, you have to do good in school just in case you want to get yourself into college. So I guess I knew the notion of college when I was young, but I was never pressured into getting into college.
You know what?
Right.
The pressure, I think, that was lacking throughout your whole entire life up until the point that you decide to go to college was the knowledge of knowing what you wanted to be when you grow up.
Yeah.
Because you're basically, when you get into college, you're making a really big life decision, and you basically have to decide
At such a young
where
age.
you want to go. Like Leo was saying, engineering, that sounds cool. I like to build things, but what do you get yourself into?
I remember myself looking at a taquero and being like, that's what I want to be when I grow up.
That's still what I want to do when I grow up.
That is still the dream.
Yeah, that is still great. That's why we're doing this podcast.
Oh. We are?
Yeah. So it's like there's the pressure to one, go to college, but then two, decide what you want to be for the rest of your life, even though you don't know what's out there.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and
It's
Yeah.
scary.
it's a scary decision when we didn't know what we were doing in high school, like much less
Well,
what we wanted to do in college.
So George, you grew up here in in the U.S., right?
Yeah.
Like you were born here and basically went through the whole college system here in the U.S., right?
Yep.
How about you, Jonathan?
I moved to the U.S. at a young age. I was 14 when I moved here, so I started 8th grade here. So, I went to middle school, high school, college here. So, basically half of the education system I've experienced it here in the U.S. But yeah, formative years, elementary and 7th grade, I did it in Mexico.
I see. Yeah, because I always wonder how different it is. Because for me, I basically got here I got one semester of middle school and the 4 years of high school. So that was a tough one for me, like especially for college wise, because I didn't know in Mexico at least I knew like about like some of the good colleges that people wanted to get into, versus here I honestly had no sense of what was a good college here in the U.S. I actually didn't even know that people actually sometimes try to come to the U.S. just to go to school because the schools are so good here.
Right.
But just that whole shock of like I don't even know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I first of all I didn't even know what a good college was in this area, and then I didn't even know what major to take. So
Right.
that was
I know exactly when I took college prep courses in high school, and don't get me wrong, I love those classes. I made a I made a ton of friendships. The teachers were cool.
Where are they now?
Don't make me get into it.
We are his only friends. Let it be known.
So what I imagined those courses teaching me was like what I wanted to be when I grew up, what kind of career paths there were, all that good stuff that you want to know as an adult. And they would kind of teach you things that would prepare you for the exams to get into college. So good note taking, staying organized, just being a well-rounded person in a sense where you can handle, you'll handle yourself in college academically.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't. We had college field trips here and there, but there was never this is what this major is about, or you can get into this field, and
Did those college field trips, was that like to everybody, or was that because you were in like in a specific class?
It was the class. It was the class
like Avid.
There you go.
I was gonna say because that's I'm kind of glad. So when I came here, my cousin took Avid, and of course he's like 4 years older than me, so he's all like. The good thing is that he kind of went through it, and he's like, "You need to join Avid because you don't know." you don't know.
Oh yeah.
You don't know
if
what
you
you're
didn't
getting.
take Avid,
Yeah. So,
Bless.
but yeah, just think about it though. Like, how many people are in that situation? If three of us, right, three different kind of like stories where you actually spend your whole time studying here in the U.S. I came in kind of late. You came in, I want to say like at a good age, really, right?
Yeah.
I guess it's about the same way.
Yeah.
Halfway.
Well, when did you go?
I was more or less like high school here.
16 or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Well, like age 16?
Yeah.
Like what, 15, 14, right? Because you kind of graduated when you were like 18.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like probably like
Yeah,
14.
about the same age. Yeah.
So you had your quinceañera here.
Sweet 16, because
You're in the U.S. All right.
I actually didn't even know what that was.
But you had one.
Yeah. I was so pretty.
You still are.
Yeah, thank you. George is just jealous because I didn't invite him.
Yeah. Never forget.
He wanted to be a chaperón.
I'll never forget.
Never forget. Yeah, no, I mean, it's kind of funny, right? Like, so the different stories of how we can, it kind of goes back to high school, right? And yet again, all those questions that you had, now imagine the people that maybe get here just like in the last year or don't even know the language or, forget about it. Because even some friends that were born here, some of them didn't even think about going to college. It was just like oh yeah, I guess I could go if I have good grades. But, other than that, there was not really a big push. But I remember for our high school generation, we were the generation with the most people attending to college. Weirdly enough, because thought there were some really dumb people in high school, but
where I'm sorry. When did you go to high school?
08.
When did you graduate?
08.
08.
08.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was class of 09.
Yeah, because
Best class
you're 08,
ever.
right?
09.
09? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Wait, how old are you? So, how old are you?
I guess that puts us into perspective
Right.
for the rest of the audience.
I'm
Listening.
30 years old.
30. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I guess I am the older. Because I knew George was the younger one.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Well, even then, because that's a little bit weird, too. Because when I got here, they wanted for me to start ahead. Because so the education that I brought from Mexico was ahead on a few classes. So they wanted me to skip that semester of middle school. You know how I told you, basically I did one semester of middle school, and then I actually went to college, right? So they, when I got here, they were like, "Oh, did you already take like algebra?" And I was like, "Yes." Did you already take like whatever class? And I was yes. But the only classes that I was missing were like U.S. history, right? Because over there you don't study U.S.
obvious
history.
reasons. Yeah. But you took quantum physics in the 6th grade, right? You took quantum physics.
No, that was like kindergarten.
Forget history. We gotta teach this kid.
Yeah. No,
Classic.
but yeah, no. So they wanted me to push ahead, but the only reason why I say, well, my mom asked me, I was like, "Are you willing to go for it?" But I actually said no, just because of that English barrier. I was like, well, I need like a semester to like make sure, and they actually put me on like ELD classes, like English language classes. But yeah, it's just all those questions about going to college. I didn't even know. And thanks to Avid, it was really the thing that got me into like, okay, well, there's these types of engineerings. The whole college acceptance process, I didn't know how complicated it was, because I was like, first of all, I guess you're so young that you don't even think of how much college is. That's the good thing. Here in the U.S., they go like, don't worry if you don't have money. You can get like financial aid or whatever, and so
you can sign up for student
They're
loans.
everywhere. Like that's what everyone does.
Yeah. You're gonna be in debt for the rest of
They
your life.
convince you. They get you right there, because then you're stuck with them for the rest of your life.
Yeah, no one talks about that. Everyone, the goal is go to college.
Go to college.
It doesn't matter like what you do. Just get the grades, and things will work out.
Yeah, that's what they tell you. Things will work.
Close your eyes.
You'll be able to pay it off once you get a job.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
You'll be fine.
Well, actually, did you guys feel pressure that, I don't know if your economical situation, like, when you were going to college, but I did end up doing like financial aid to be able to afford a college.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, so even then, like, right, like my mom, everything's kind of funny now, because I applied to college and everything, right? Like, whatever. My mom never even like, she was working like multiple jobs and, busy with life or whatever, but she never even bothered to like stop and think and say like, wait, don't apply because we don't even know if we can
we can afford this.
But
stop applying to MIT, Harvard.
Yeah. I mean,
I made sure my parents never saw the price tag if financial aid was there, and I was able to like get the financial help to be able to attend the school. I told my parents, "Oh, it's fine.
Yeah,
don't worry about it.
Yeah, well, I'll make it happen."
Yeah, I'll make it happen.
For me, it was through Avid. So they made you fill up like this form, pick like 4. I think Avid would pay you like 3 schools that you wanted to go to at least or whatever. So you put your top 3 schools that you wanted to, and any additional schools that you wanted, you had to like pay like a fee, like $70 or whatever. But do you guys remember how many like schools did you actually apply to, and how many that actually accepted you?
I applied to probably like 10 schools. Only because I had a waiver, because if you don't know, you have to pay like $60, anywhere between $60 and $150 or something like that.
Right, to apply to schools.
Just for the application itself. But I had a waiver from the school, not from Avid, but from just the school, where it would let me, it would waive the fee for the application itself. So they ask you just apply. Basically you have 5 schools that you can apply for free. In a way, they're waiving the fees. So obviously, I applied to realistic schools that I could get into: MIT, Princeton, the classics.
Good one.
And I was the one taking quantum physics.
I threw in Georgetown just for the fun of it. That was my backup school, actually. But anyways, I ended up applying to about 10 schools, and I probably got in to
one.
None.
None.
That's probably 3, yeah, probably about 3, and all in California.
How about you, George?
Honestly, I'd probably thought of taking the same route as Jonah did, applying to MIT, these Ivy League schools. But then I
only did it because it was realistic for me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I was like, let me be realistic. Do I want to get rejected when I read the email? I mean, regardless, getting an email from Princeton probably felt good in itself. I don't know how you felt.
Did you?
No, I made shirts.
No, I ended up actually applying to local schools, that I thought were in the area, relatively, cheap, but well known enough for the majors I had chosen and, the little knowledge that I had.
Mm-hmm.
And, I got into most of them. I'd say my dream school being UCLA, and they for the application, they asked for, I think, 2 essays, like a personal statement, and then like several other written responses.
A couple of the UCs, I think, do that though.
Yeah, I think UC systems do that.
Just really quick, now that you brought that up about UCLA being your dream
choice.
school, what made UCLA be UCLA? You said UCLA, right? Not UCLA. Sorry, UCLA be your dream school. What was it about it? The campus?
It was everything. I mean, the school field trip sold me.
Okay. So you like the campus?
Yeah, I like the campus. I like the vibe, the students, the opportunity. Obviously, it's a top tier school in California. Yeah, in LA, and you're of course living as much of a success story as you can.
Right.
More than I'd say the CSU level schools. The UCs are kind of like at a higher notch, I would say, and I think people can agree. But it was a tough school to get into. I had the GPA and probably most of what was required to get in, but I think the major I applied for was impacted. So yeah, there was a lot of other competition, and
it was there a lot of that actually? Because I didn't experience I guess a major being impacted. But was that a thing for a lot of let's say the reason why they say no to you to some of your schools?
I don't know. At least when I applied for the applications I did, I don't even remember
them
putting
saying
down. But it's been over 10 years, so maybe I don't even remember.
What did your Princeton email say?
This is not a Wendy's, sir.
No, basically they said that it was just kind of like a generic, obviously type of answer saying
they didn't even bother filling up the letter for you and saying it's just a simple no, don't even try.
Here, insert your name.
They didn't even take the time to put your name.
Literally it said insert your name. Oh my god!
Don't lie.
No.
It's a safe space.
It was just like, thank you. We had the toughest time. Rejecting you. We consider your application. We couldn't take it.
It is what it is.
Next time.
Yeah. Move on.
Basically.
Move on.
Basically.
Maybe in the next life you'll get it.
Keeping it real.
Yeah, because for me it's I applied to UCSD, UC San Francisco, San Diego State. I honestly, I remember because the avid teachers were like, "Do you know where you want to go?" And I was like, I don't know. And
ITT Tech.
That didn't sound bad at that point.
San Diego Community College.
Yeah. Well, I knew that. I knew that much. but that was the thing, though, right? It was I knew I wanted to do something with engineering or architecture. That was I was like, okay, I'm kind of in that area.
Right.
And then they were like, okay, well, they're like, well, UCSD has an engineering program. San Diego State has an engineering program. I actually signed up for a private architectural school too. in downtown San Diego. But anyways, I applied to a couple of them, and out of all of them, I want to say it was San Diego State basically saying yes, and UC is University of San Francisco also said yes, and then UCSD said sort of yes, but then they asked me for that second. I don't know if for you it was the same thing. For me, it was like I applied with one resume, and it's like they almost said like we're not too sure, and I don't know if it was because it was impacted, because once again I don't remember the letter, but they did ask me to submit a different essay, or like they wanted me like my application again just to see if I made the cut at the end or not. But it wasn't because of, so the grades and all the extracurricular stuff was good. I think they just wanted to see if I was
the extra.
And at the end, it basically came down to like me thinking like, well, I can't go to San Francisco because it's, from what I knew, it was really expensive over there. I was like, my mom is here, and at the end of the day, it's closer, it's cheaper, and that's where I'm going to San Diego State. But that was the decision making, not really the
right.
I guess I didn't even consider if it would benefit me to go to like another college.
Yeah, based on like academic, level and standard that they had there. I think same for me. It came down to two schools really. It was Cal State Pomona, which also had a really nice engineering program there. Yeah, Cal Poly, and SDSU. And I literally chose it for the same reasons as you did. I had family here. It's close. I can afford to stay home. I can go to school during the week and then sleep on the weekends at home. And, that's what it came down to. And it turned out to be fine.
Yeah. Well, that's the other kind of thing that hits you, right? Like, well, now that we graduated, it's been a minute since we graduated, but
we just graduated.
Couple minutes.
Now that that us three like graduated, do you regret choosing the school that you did? Because I don't. I actually think that I actually made the better choice. Like, I don't think I would have gotten a better job, or I would have done better academically, or nothing. For me, at least in my mind, I can't see anything really changing besides that I would have paid more money and gotten the same diploma, the same little piece of paper that says that I graduated.
I would have loved going to Princeton, to be honest.
Yeah. Me too, but at least I got the. It's okay. One day they'll see what they miss.
When Jonathan gets depressed, he crawls into like the fetal position and looks for the nearest corner and just kind of cradles. But I mean, it's just, once I think about it, the only reason why I say this is because I got to meet you guys.
No.
In college. Bullshit.
No,
that was probably the worst part of the college. Honestly, I think what helped a lot is that I see that there was still a lot of locals going to that school. So it wasn't people from like out of town. There was still people from out of town, but you get that whole like, a lot of locals come to this school. It was close to home, like we were saying, and at the same time, I didn't even know this, but it was an accredited school for like engineering, which I guess a lot of schools don't really have that. Like, for you to take like your engineering test, like little things like that I was like, I signed up to a lot of schools that I didn't even check if they even
same
have
here.
it.
I was down. I guess I lucked out.
Yeah, in a way we kind of lucked out, because I didn't look that far for sure.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, who does?
Yeah, I didn't even knew that I had to check for that.
And then even if I think about it even more, right? Like, and I didn't find this out until like 2 years into college. Like, I think UCSD, yes, they do have an engineering program, but their focus is like in like structural engineering. That's like their bread and butter, and actually that's not what I wanted to do. So once again, I think I lucked out by going to like San Diego State, and they had like they pretty much had all the engineering, like mechanical, aerospace, electrical. I think they still had the electrical.
Everything but structural, actually. Just because.
Well, structural, you could go in like into your master's, right? I think you could do like a master's.
Right.
In
Yeah. But that's because of the nature of structural engineering, because we basically need a master's degree almost to, and a license, PE, all that stuff to be able to actually be a structural engineer.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Yeah. So if you haven't catched it by now, yes, we all went for engineering, and that's kind of how we.
We took it in the same classes, cheating off each other, and then that's how we were introduced.
Yeah, no. So I mean, but that's the thing, though. That's the one thing that you kind of learn through college, right? It's like, um, it's kind of, at least for engineering, I felt like it's hard to like make it through by yourself. Like you almost need like
definitely.
your friends
Yeah.
to help you out. At least like understand the homework or
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it. Like that's kind of like how you make it through. Because if you're by yourself, that's
Right.
unless you're like the smartest person in.
Then you're the one
the
that
class.
everyone's coming to for help.
Yeah.
Basically, you have to know somebody that knows somebody
Yeah.
that knows somebody that has, the study guide.
Yeah.
And that's how
Our
you
last
make friends.
semester's test.
Yeah. I remember people looking for the
Come on,
last semester.
come on. You all know you've been
True.
there.
Anyone who's taking college classes right now knows the truth. But honestly, that's really how networking goes down in college.
Yeah.
It's what unites the students really. Is either one, you make the same study groups and you pass the test and it's a success, or two, everyone fails the class and you all like complain about it at the same time, and that kind of just connects everybody in a weird way.
Yeah.
and it's
Bonding.
it's student bonding at its finest.
Yeah. But it's funny because it's okay, let's be honest. The engineering homeworks that you would get, they were lengthy. I remember like, well, even actually some of the generic classes like physics and chemistry, like I remember those homeworks like taking a good chunk of your time, just the lab, the going to the class, and then the time to do your homework, and then studying for that. Like all that kind of took like the majority. Like instead of focusing, I don't know, religious studies or whatever, electives you took, like those classes really took a lot of your time. And then add that to like, let's say if you're working, or if you were somebody that were commuting from, because there's some people that actually would commute all the way from TJ to school. So you're having people waking up at like 4 a.m, and then just to get to class like at 8, so all add all that up, and I just can't see one kind of being able to do that all by themselves without like a little bit of help or somebody that kind of helps you like get by.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what friends are for.
Well, no, and it's true though, right? Because now we graduated, and it kind of became true. Like we graduated, we all had the same majors. Well, Jonathan, you sticked around for a little bit longer, right? Because he went for his master's. But at the end of the day, it's like, and it's true. Like at least if you plan to stick near your school of choice, like where you graduated, you may end up working with a lot of the people that are already in that field. Like especially in engineering, like. George and I, at the beginning, I think we worked in different places, but we were doing the same thing. Jonathan, we basically all ended up doing about the same thing. And if we ever had a question, it would be like, hey, like, dude, like, could you help me out? Or what do you do in this situation? So even after school, those relationships that you built in college kind of help you at your actual job. Like, it does benefit you. The fact that you go to, like, a local school, people that were local, and then you still made the friendships that kind of help you, get a vibe of how things get run, because it's a lot. At least you're always learning. There's always something new that comes up. But then, I mean, then there's also that whole thing of like the college experience, right? Because it's not all serious and how we got there. But I think for us, like we really connected through like it was an engineering organization, and I know you two basically. I think you guys were in that organization before me, right?
I think so. Maybe one
Like a
year
year.
before tops, something like that.
Probably. Yeah. It up until that point, up until joining that organization, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do.
Oh yeah.
I just majored in civil engineering, hoping I'd find my way to
somehow
one side or the other,
Yeah.
and in a specific field. It all kind of depended on the first job. That was kind of my perspective on college. I'd say just go with the flow. But then on this study abroad trip, I went with Jonathan on a trip to Europe. Great trip. We had tons of fun, but the people that we met there were part of this organization that we later joined, called the ITE.
Also,
Institute.
first it was the trip, and then that's how you guys joined.
And that's how the networking happened.
That's how we even learned about
Oh,
the
no,
organization.
Literally,
So-
yeah.
so-
We had never
So this is
heard
like
about
what,
it.
like sophomore year?
Junior
year,
year,
senior year,
like junior year.
Yeah.
This is our
Junior
senior year in college.
year. We're
It-
barely figuring shit out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was our junior year, and we went on this trip. You know, it's a college experience. You know, blah blah blah. So we went.
So you guys didn't know each other.
We did.
Before
We did.
Oh, okay.
Before we had taken a couple of classes together, and
Got you.
we were like, all right, let's do it. So we went with this other group of like 6 or 7 people, and they were all part of this organization already. And so, like, you know, you're
It
stuck.
just kind of clicked.
Yeah, we just kind of clicked. You're stuck with people for like a month, you know, so you get to know each other, mingle, network, talk about each other's college experiences, and they're like, hey, you want to join our organization? We're like, yeah, sure, why not?
Sign me up.
Sounds fun. It's free. Oh,
Yeah, it's free. You have free,
free
lunch at
burritos.
the
Free
meetings.
burritos.
Oh, hell yeah. You'll feed me, right? Hell yeah.
You'll feed me.
Yeah, that's the reason.
That's how we try to lure people in. We learned it. And then up until that experience, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And through that organization, I got the chance to talk to actual professionals in that engineering field. And that's what really opens your eyes to, you know, the possibilities of like what kind of work is actually out there.
And is this the trip where the because there was a professor, right, that went with you guys to the trip. So I mean, think about like the chances, right? But he ended up, I think by our senior year, he was the acting dean of engineering.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So on top of the relationships we built within our, you know, fellow students, we also had that connection.
Yeah. So for people listening, I guess that maybe are considering college, would you say that would you say how important do you think are those like networking connections? Like while you're in college, like should they try to be doing that stuff? I have my opinion on it, but I don't know what you guys think because you guys went through it on a different route. Or is it more about the friendships, or is it more about maybe the connections with your professors or organizations, or what is it that you think people should be like looking into if they're going to college?
I think everything.
Everything.
I mean, relationships, you know, friends is networking. You know, that's like the first level, the easiest one, you know, connecting with your peers. That is the first level of networking. Then after that, connecting with, you know, professionals, it's all part of it. Just going to college and just, you know, doing, you know, the schoolwork and all that stuff. If you just do that, then you're not really.
It's not really
like,
college.
Straight up, it's gonna be hard for you to get a job. Period.
Yeah.
And at the end of the
totally
day,
agree.
unless you are, you know, wealthy or you don't have a single care in the world as far as making money, you know, keeping it real, the reason why a person goes to college is so that you can get a job. Yep. At least that was my reason, and I know that's the reason.
I just did it for the fun of it.
Yeah, I know you did.
I did it for a good time.
Yeah. But anyways, so that's why I'd say that is 90% is networking and 10% is just do the schoolwork. You know, do it right and, you know, pass your classes and all that stuff.
You still need to basically graduate.
Yeah.
But if you graduate with all your roots, I guess, well set in the ground, it's gonna be hard to like grow.
For sure.
And
I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's gonna be way harder.
Yeah,
if you don't know anyone.
I completely agree with Jonathan. 90% networking, making friends, and establishing those connections that you're later gonna use in the future. 10%, do your work, do your homework. Like they say, C's get degrees. Get that piece of paper.
I thought it was D's get degrees.
I had a little bit higher standard.
I did it wrong.
Hey, as long as you get your degree, that's all that matters. But I do think the networking and building relationships with the people that are eventually going to be working with you, you know, in the future, that's the important part.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you know, when I want to say I joined that organization, maybe. Yeah, because I was a super senior, so maybe I guess he had junior year as well. But I started a year before you guys, basically.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I want to say like, I tried joining other organizations, but I just it's really important the whole clicking with like the people.
Yeah, you know when you click.
Yeah, because I remember going to their orgs
After a
and
few
just
beers.
Yeah, very much. It doesn't take too much.
after eating one burrito and being listening to
The burritos worked. I knew it.
Yeah, dude. So usually, okay, for people that don't know,
He was our first member, right?
He was always the first guy at the lunches.
I was the only guy at the lunch. It's like 12 burritos just for me. No, but I mean that's the thing, right? So those other organizations, I think that's why you kind of have to find what clicks for you, because there is a lot of organizations, and I remember joining a couple where it just didn't. One, it didn't click. Two, they didn't even give you a voice in the organization.
I thought you were gonna say they didn't even give you your own burrito.
They also didn't give me my own burrito.
So for everyone listening, burritos were given out at these lunch meetings as kind of like to entice people to
then we got
join.
stingy.
Just think about it.
Then we
Full on burrito.
For
Full
free.
one for free.
then we got stingy and we started cutting them in half. Just like, because
And that's still a deal.
Because what word got around.
Yeah. It's funny because at some point I think the org got known as the burrito organization.
So the benefits, the pros to joining our organization.
Besides the burrito.
Okay, besides the burrito, there was a free soda along with the burrito. But like Leo was mentioning, is that the fact that it was a small, close-knit family where you actually can get exposure to, the actual profession.
Yeah,
talking
exactly.
to professionals.
Yeah.
There were other organizations.
One-on-ones. Get one-on-one.
Yeah, it was
There
a
were-
one-on-one.
Or other organizations that had maybe 50, 60, 100 members. And
Yeah.
at that point, what kind of exposure
Yeah,
are you going to
it's
get?
like it's like how are you gonna you're 1 in 100, basically, right?
Yeah.
So it's
yeah,
it's
and
like
if
how are you
there's
even gonna
like
get
2
noticed?
job openings,
Yeah.
it's every man for themselves.
Well, now that you bring that up, I remember me applying to a job and Mr. over here took it from me. I'm looking at Jonathan. It was,
You're going there.
yeah.
Oh, we went there.
No, but you see, this is the thing, though, right? Even then, right? I remember at the org, it was pretty much like, look, as long as one in the group kind of gets the job, I think that was a win in a way. Like, I was like, I still hate the guy to this day, but.
Nice.
It
He
is
can
what
hear
it
you.
is.
He can hear you.
Oh, he's here?
What are you gonna do?
No, but it's true, though, right? Like, we wouldn't have heard about that application, or actually, I should say it this way: we heard about it first than many other other organizations, and maybe it's because of the field, right? But at the same time, it was that connection, right? Like just the fact that somebody knew that there was this org at school, reach out to us first and be like, okay, well, we're just a group of like, I forgot how many. At some point, we were, I think, like maybe 20, right? But I don't know if everybody, or either some of them already had a job lineup, or they were looking for a job. So think about it now. Instead of being 1 in 100, you're like 1 in 10. So your chances just skyrocket, basically, just because you're part of this kind of work.
Just because you're partying with the right people.
Yeah, very much.
Honestly, well, think about it. How many actual serious conversations? Like there was serious times, right? Like where we would work on like a specific project, but it wasn't something so big that would like take so much time away from your day. And if something, it was not even like tedious. Like you would enjoy it, doing some of this stuff.
Yeah.
So
Some of my favorite memories were with the organization, with that same group of friends. That actually I think each one of us in that organization actually got a job.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much. And no matter what we were doing, we always got a free meal out of anything we were doing. So that was awesome.
Yeah, and well, I guess we should say that we should be thankful that the professionals that were backing that org are actually really nice. Like, they gave us money to like do like trips to like conferences, and it really exposed us to a lot of the things that we didn't even know. That's how, well, at least I didn't know if that's how the engineering, firms operated. Like through like nowadays, like that I go like, well, I guess before I just think like, well, I'm just gonna go on my desk, do my job, and prove that I'm, worthy or whatever. But now you notice that there is a big importance as far as going to like conferences, keep learning, making those connections outside of your, your
immediate circle.
Yeah, because there's you always find somebody that you can connect and relate to, and just kind of keep expanding that network. And you never know when you're gonna need them. If you wanna change your jobs or whatever. But yeah, definitely something to take. How much did you guys? I'm curious to know, like, how much. I know Jonathan is probably like a smarty pants, but how much did you struggle to actually go through college in the just looking at the academic side of things? Was it easy?
Nah, I mean, for sure, it wasn't easy. I had to. I'm the type of person or the type of student that it takes a while, and like you have to basically beat knowledge into my brain. Like I have to do exercise after exercise after exercise, and I'm talking obviously, after engineering, everyone else, problem solving. Have to do it, over and over again until I get it, and then it clicks.
So
I know
you're not the person that reads it and gets it.
No,
basically.
no, I'm definitely not that type of person. So, yeah, that throughout college, I had to, whenever we get assignments or whatever, I had to go watch YouTube videos or just look at like
remember
how you do this, how do you do that, and okay, then
70-year-old guy
practice
teaching
and practice and practice. Yeah, for sure. Khan Academy, kudos, thank you, got me through college.
Yeah,
but yeah, basically, it was definitely a struggle. Just
Yeah.
Since we're doing the shadows, Wolfram Alpha, thank you very much.
Wolfram Alpha, another one. Yes.
Spark Notes for English.
You're the real MVP.
You see, I never use Spark Notes.
I love Spark
Oh,
Notes.
Spark Notes.
Cliff Notes. Cliff Notes too.
Spark Notes, is
Yeah,
that the
that's
one
true.
that they would give you the summary of the...
Oh,
Yeah, basically.
And they'd have notes on the side of the pages to explain the things that were going on.
Okay, maybe I should have known about that.
Oh, yeah. That made life so much easier. Wolfram Alpha, definitely a huge help. But yeah, like Jonathan said, I'd spend hours in the library just looking over problems, studying for tests. I was lucky when things kind of clicked for me, and I was only in specific classes. Maybe I'd say algebra or algebra 2, but the rest I was as lost as the rest of the class almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even some of the classes, right? Because you get really deep in some of the classes that I feel like... Oh, and then you have all these other concepts going on with the different classes that you kind of get like lost into like, wait, what am I?
In my opinion, it was so unnecessary to go that far into like
some of
the
things.
theory of how this equation popped up. Like, out of all the classes, I'd probably use like 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah.
In my actual like workplace.
Yeah. Did you guys work during college at all, or no?
I did not for like the first, basically half. Half of my college I didn't, and then the latter part of college I did. I had an internship, so
okay.
I was working, but I was doing like 40 hours or whatever.
Yeah. So you were pretty much like a full-time. Oh, I guess still considered part-time, right? Or no, 40. You said 40 hours?
Yeah. I would try to accommodate my schedule so that I could do 40 hours.
Right.
And by that time it wasn't too hard to do because I was already taking like upper division classes and stuff. And a lot of those classes are kind of like in the afternoons, anyway. So I was able to
manage both.
Yeah, to manage like working in the mornings and maybe go to school and then right after that go back to work for a couple hours. So I was able to do 40 hours most of the time.
Yeah. How about you, George?
I'd say the last 2 years I actually picked up an internship. I was fortunate enough to pick both internships through ITE. It was a student organization that we joined. Amazing organization. But yeah, after that, like you said, the schedule was flexible. I could fit in those part-time jobs and made the most of them, and really just built on my network, and that's how I moved up.
Yeah. Because for me, it's I always question like how much did that hurt me? Because well, both my wife and I, we both were working before we even started to college, right? So it was working for sure one job the first 2 years. Maybe I did the whole joining the organization, the engineering organization, and then that's when it started getting crazy because basically like finances wise, like in order for me to like gas and help my mom and all that stuff, it was it was basically 2 jobs, and at my last year it was 3 jobs and school. So
what were you doing exactly?
So for the first few years, I was doing basically like retail. So I was working like at a shoe store, and that was the gig. But the tough part is that you never have a set schedule. It's basically because you're the part timer. They always call you like at random times, so you almost have to be like available at any time. So that was tough because tests would come back, and at least that job they didn't care if you had a test. They would be like, no, well, you're in the schedule, so you have to be there. Who cares if you have a test the following day? You know, like they wouldn't budge. So that was, I think, one of the things that kind of hurt me. Then the other one was the time consumption. Maybe then that's why I was saying like chemistry, I remember chemistry and physics, the homeworks were so long that it would be like, well, let's say, depending on the day, because that's the crazy schedule about school is that sometimes you start early, but you have so many breaks in between that you may end up your college time like at 7 p.m. So you could start early, but have so many breaks in between that, and then a class at night. Yeah. So sometimes it would be where I would have to like just go to close the shop. So that would be from 8 to 10, and my class would end like at 6. So it's basically just get out of the class, change, go to work, and then closing up at 10:30. I would be home, and I would barely start being able to do my homework at 10:30. So that was the little tough, because, you know, at that point I'm all like, man, my next class tomorrow is going to be like 7 in the morning. I can't do homework. Like, I'm just going to go to sleep.
Do it in the morning.
Yeah. So I always wonder like how much that actually hurt me. But then again, I don't, you know, I feel like I don't know. I feel like it's like one person kind of manages, right? Like, it's like time management. I think that's like the only takeaway from it.
Well, yeah, it's time management, and it's having friends that have last year's exam.
Oh no, honestly, there's a lot of truth to that, because I do remember, full disclosure, but yeah, like I remember there was times that I would be like, it's not that I didn't want to do the homework, I just didn't have time to do the homework, and I would be like, whatever, anybody that did their homework, please like pass it on, because either I didn't have time to like go home and try to get it, or I just didn't have time. Right. And I would be like, just give me the homework and I'll try to figure out, but by the time the test comes in, hopefully. And then like you're saying, like looking for that last semesters, or even I remember at some point we even found like tests that would go back like 8 years.
Oh, years. Oh, there was a huge collection.
But
oh,
even then,
man,
okay,
it was great.
Even then, forget about, you know, some people be like, well, that's cheating. Well, it's not really cheating, because you still kind of, first of all, a lot of the questions sometimes we're not even on the test, or they were different on the test.
Yeah. It's just additional study material.
It really is. I mean, every now and then you would get lucky, and maybe the question would repeat, but
yeah.
It's I don't know. I don't know how you could do it, just by, especially if you're working, and maybe if you're, how would you call it, foreign to the area. Like, imagine if you had to live in the dorms, and now you have to work about, well, not the dorms, but like off campus. And now you have to worry about your rent, your roommates, and you know you may have that roommate that wants to party, and you're the one that actually wants to study. So that's, and then not having your family around to like support you like for a meal, let's say, if you're really running hungry.
That's why you go to IT.
That's why you get to the IT
you
burrito
get to organization.
And get a couple extra burritos for the day.
You do. Yeah. Take a few to go.
Hey, no shame there. Hey, we're here to support whoever supports the organization. At the end of the day, that's all that mattered. You know,
that's what it is.
It was helping each other out.
So what was your guys' takeaway from college? Would you
Party.
say? Party hard, never stop.
Don't be afraid to ask for study material. I kid you not, half of the friends that I made in college were from sharing homework or sharing answers in one way or another. That I'd sit next to someone in lecture and be like, "Hey, did you get the questions to the homework last night, or do you have the answers to the test, or you know, like little conversations like that came up kind of randomly, and boom, I was like, all right, we're sitting next to each other. We'll get through this together, or we'll fail together. It doesn't matter, but you know,
maybe in 10 years we'll start a podcast or something."
Well, okay.
We don't know.
Think about it. Is it even
destiny?
we're actually broke, so we have no jobs. That's why we're doing this podcast. Well, no, okay, so this is a true testament. I think. Forget about the study materials, and if maybe there's some slight amount of cheating or whatever going on throughout the whole years of college, right? Allegedly. Think about it. Do you think somebody that truly that doesn't get the subjects would make it at the workplace? Like, because there's some people that I remember that would, I won't call the persons, but there's people that were really smart, but then by the time they came to being at a job, they never really moved up. They just kind of, I've seen them flip around jobs and not really going anywhere. They just keep bouncing between jobs and not really moving up. Whereas the people that, even if, let's say, you didn't do so well in school, but you still have that brain, right, that could capture all that, you still kind of like keep moving up little by little, like steadily.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it goes back to the saying of what gets you to the door, and then who like gets you in the door. Yeah. Kind of. So even if you were just a bookworm throughout college, or you didn't really make those connections, and you just studied the book, you fiddled your way through class, got your degree, blah blah. You landed the job. If you don't have those social skills to get yourself up, you're probably gonna be doing the same thing for years. Or like you said, like trying to find other jobs that kind of fit or float your boat.
Do you think you would have been able to get the current job that you have without you going to college? Like, would you have been able to get that job that you have just by going to like high school and trying to make it out there?
Oh, just going
like
straight.
How crucial is? Well, I guess maybe for specific to our field, how crucial is it to get a degree to get where we're at? Because I think at least for our field, you pretty much you do need it. I do have a friend that he didn't go this route, but just right now he barely started getting into the engineering field, but it took a lot of time. So I just wonder how crucial do you think it is to get an engineering degree to get into engineering?
I think your engineering degree, meaning your bachelor's degree, is literally your ticket. And by ticket, I mean you show the company, here's my ticket, wave it in their face and be like, all right, let's see what you got. But it doesn't act as a resume. It's like, oh, I was able to follow directions and learn and then test really well. That's kind of like what bachelor's degree is really. That's what it really does.
That's a
what
good
it really
analogy.
Means,
it just proves that you're telling the company, hey, give me a chance. Otherwise, like without it, you don't even have that. Yeah, not that you're nothing, but you're not even gonna get that opportunity. You don't have that ticket, like you were saying.
Yeah.
Like you need it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. Are you talking about realistically or more like
no, like
in general?
Specific to the field,
the skills.
No, specific to the field and skills. Because for example, I have a friend. Man, he's gonna eventually listen to the podcast and be like, "Why did you talk about me?" But I have a friend, right? He started as a computer engineer at San Diego State, then switched to. It was too hard for him, or he wasn't comprehending. He felt like he wasn't comprehending enough to like move through college, at least for that degree. So he switched to like Spanish language, right?
Spanish major.
Yeah. So he graduated with a Spanish major, and then of course after graduation, sadly there's too many people graduating with a Spanish major, and they, to a degree, you don't need a degree to get a degree in Spanish to prove that you can speak Spanish, right? It just takes somebody that really knows how to speak it. You don't need a paper. So he struggled in that end, decided to go back to school just because, well, first the jobs that he did get, they weren't paying enough. But two, because he was like, well, I need to do something. He liked the whole engineering or something to do with planning and designing. So he went back to community college to get to start studying again for like an engineering major. And that's how he was able to get into like a career into that kind of stuff. But he didn't even finish. Like he just kind of proved that he was taking the classes and he had another degree. So he just kind of, he still has a degree in Spanish, but right now he's kind of starting to do some engineering.
Okay, but he has an engineering job.
Yeah, you could say it's an engineering job. It's a step below an engineering job. I want to say it's more like a technician, but his next level, just because of the years that he has been doing it, would be like an engineering designer, like a designer.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Good for him. Yeah. It goes back to, I think, a bigger topic on the scale of how important, school is in your future careers nowadays. Honestly, people are moving away from college, from university, academics, 4-year, that whole system. Everyone's kind of like stepping away from that and, becoming their own thing. Honestly, if I came from a high school diploma, no college experience,
I wouldn't hire you.
If you gave me a year to learn, what an entry-level position asks for, I think I'd be able to do it.
Maybe that's a topic for a different episode, but it depends, I think, on the complexity of the job that you're trying to chase. Like some of the things that we did for jobs at some point, I think get really deep into the topic of engineering, of a really specific topic of engineering, and it has so many variables to it and so many things that you kind of have to know in the background that it may be kind of hard to grasp at the beginning. So I don't know how you could learn that by like not knowing the basics of.
Yeah, I'd say you'd have to be a well-rounded person, not.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like graduate high school, but like have some kind of sense, like street smarts, and like know your way around the, what you're getting yourself into.
Okay, this is maybe the last question, but imagine if you didn't get your degree in engineering, or let's say you would not drop out of college, but you decide to like chase like some other career. What would that be?
That's a tough one.
Because I know George loves soccer and you love soccer, but only one of you guys is actually good.
Wait, do you mean a pro?
Fight.
I guess for that, like the dream job.
Wait. No, not the dream job. Like something. Let's keep it kind of realistic. Something that you think you would have been able to achieve. Because I mean, your dream job could be like an NBA player, but if you're 5 feet tall, you're never gonna make. I'm sorry to tell any 5 feet tall.
Something I think something I would have been able to achieve, of course, with a lot of training and do this and that, but something that I wanted to do would be to do something in kind of like a sports caster or whatever, like working in that sense,
like news
like for kinda? I don't know, like ESPN or something like that. Not necessarily as an anchor or I mean, who knows, whatever. Yeah. But I feel like a lot of the people that are in the in these shows that I watch that talk about soccer or specifically soccer. Sometimes I could do that. Sometimes I feel like a lot of people get this sense, but I'm like,
you do know that we have 0 subscribers as of this point,
right.
So this is gonna be proof of your.
No, but I feel specifically in the topic of soccer, I'm like I could be on TV and I could be talking about soccer.
Yeah.
Again, I'm talking about like dream job, if I could say, with a lot training and some of that learning the ropes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I could see myself doing some, or I would have loved to do something.
Okay, where do you think
that end?
In order for you to achieve that, and I'll go back to what you want to do, what you wanted to do if it wasn't for this, but where do you think you would have to start to even get into that kind of feel? Like, forget about college, right? Like that already kind of happened. So what would you do to? Well, I guess you could go back to college and study like communications or whatever you need to.
Yeah, I mean that's the traditional way. I know. Well, nowadays, I guess you can start whatever.
But
back then, start here.
Yeah.
Start this podcast.
You can like record
so you're
yourself.
Saying this is your ticket to.
I guess so.
This is step one, guys.
Tune in into ESPN and 5 years, you'll see me there.
ESPN, if you want to be a sponsor to this podcast, contact Jonathan.
But I mean, the traditional route is to major in communications, start an internship or something, and something related to TV, not necessarily sports, but just get yourself in the field, and then I guess that's how you start, moving around in that industry.
I honestly thought that you were gonna say like something kind of like still engineering related, but yeah, yours is like really soccer, like news.
Yeah, something like that. And and
way different from engineering.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, that would be, because that's freaking fun. Literally, you're just talking about.
You're saying engineering
like
is not fun.
It's not. For me, I really see it as a, it's a job. It has its moments. It's interesting.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say it. Again, the stuff that I do, I wouldn't classify it as fun.
You don't jump out of your bed in the morning and kind of like get on your shoes and like, let's go fix some roads.
I guess that's what you have to do, but yeah, that's how. I mean, yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
Or that's what I dream.
What you think you could do?
Yeah, I could do. It's a different story, right? Like what I think I can do and what happens. But we're talking theoreticals here.
So let's talk about a more realistic goal, George.
I'm talking about becoming a soccer player, of course.
Yeah, that's
I got a
that's
couple
the
of
dream.
chances. That is the dream.
That is a dream.
Obviously. No, being more realistic. Toning it down on the dreams. I would say, and this was an idea from the ACT test, I think, or one of the tests we took in high school that kind of determines it places you in a couple of career choices that you can make in college, and
it's like an aptitude test almost.
I think that's exactly what it was called. And the two top career choices that came up for me were
Taquero
engineering.
That's a very good one.
Yeah, they should have had questions on taquero. I would have aced that one for sure. Was engineering and business. And obviously, like, my dream as a kid was to be a pro footballer, like soccer player. But of course, tying business and sports would have probably been, the next dream job. Obviously, like, my career took a different path, and
to what extent though would you say like business and sports, as in like you owning like a pro shop kind of thing, or you owning like managing like a team?
Oh, managing a team. Yeah, definitely not. Maybe not in the sense of coaching a team, but maybe managing kind of the more business aspects. So
yeah, that's fun.
That it looks fun. Definitely, you get free tickets to whatever team you're managing, but you work your way up, and then you become
would you do it? I mean, because both of you guys are into soccer a lot, but would you say it's would you stick to like this area? Because soccer wasn't. I mean, I think when we were at least in college, soccer wasn't like. I guess at least I didn't see it here. It's still like spiking as much as it is now. Like now, it's like more known, I guess, or more accepted. I think accepted would have been. It was known. It was just not really. At least you didn't see a lot of marketing behind it. Whereas now you kind of see it a little bit more. Would you have
moved to what?
To like somewhere else to like actually achieve that, like, well, you're in a different spot. You're in a different spot because you could basically do it from anywhere, right? And you're like close to LA where they do like a lot of the show recording. But for you, like managing a team.
Oh yeah, wherever you would. I'd imagine you started an internship. So like that, whatever you want to start with, whatever opportunity you get, you kind of just take it. You gotta jump on it, and run with it. So I'd say. Yeah, I definitely I try to stick to California, of course. But if I was given an opportunity to go to New York.
Yeah, for me it was either I think I would have gone for like you see maybe I should be more I should want something better for me, but I was thinking like construction. Like, like being like a laborer, like a carpenter or something like that, like a technician, I guess. I kind of like that. Or it was real estate. That was the other thing that I was like, that's kind of interesting, to showing houses and everything. But
that's probably something
it still sounds boring though. Your guys, it sounds like more fun.
Yeah,
I don't know. Walking around $1 million houses.
But it's not my house.
That's not what he's talking about.
And let's be honest. Yeah. Other than that, I mean, taquero, I guess it's gonna.
I think we can all relate to the fact that being a taquero is pretty amazing.
being a taquero or having a restaurant, bar, whatever, that is like right there.
That is probably
that would be
that is nice.
awesome.
Yeah, owning a restaurant or a bar, a coffee shop.
It has to. I love that idea. You know what? Let's forget about this podcast.
That's the dream.
That's the dream. Let's focus on.
Yeah, we should actually invite someone who owns a restaurant and be like, hey, can you get us in?
Why
Okay,
not?
I know I know I said it was the last question, but I lied. So why did you choose this career?
Being on a podcast?
If you can call this a career with zero income,
it's a future career, all right. Especially for Jonah. Over here.
This is actually just for Jonah. We wanted to really get that ESPN. Please. No, but okay. For me, I'll be straight honest. For me, it was honestly, I like the sciences or like math and all that. Like for me, it's like interesting.
Yeah.
But I would be a complete liar if I would say that it wasn't just like. Also, I knew money was good. Like money was a big driver as well. So how about you, Jonah?
Yeah, for me, very similar, but not necessarily. I wouldn't say necessarily. I knew the money was good. I really just knew there was a lot of jobs out there. I didn't really think about how much they would pay, which you gotta realize I was 17. But all I care about was actually having a job.
Yeah.
Because at the time, we're talking about 08, 09, it was even hard to get any job.
That's true.
So I was like,
well,
I don't really care as long as I know there are a lot of jobs in engineering.
Yeah.
So I'm going,
it
that's
sounds
what
like
I'm
a
doing.
safe field.
Yeah,
and it goes back to what I mentioned earlier about having doctor, somewhere in medicine, somewhere in engineering. It's a safe job. There are tons of jobs. There's tons of schools to get you there, and there's tons of opportunities along the way to, like branch out into whatever specific thing you want. So it was kind of a safe decision, and I'd say for myself too. Engineering, it was the money, like the potential to get you up there, to have a safe. It was the ideal career, outside of being a lawyer, businessman, a doctor. It was like the thing I strived for. It was actually architecture.
Yeah.
To be honest.
I think a lot of the people that wanted to, well, at least thought of engineering kind of start with architecture.
Yeah, because it was the more, creative, fun. You get to, like, design things, and you get to that sounded more appealing to me.
Yeah.
But then realizing that there's more engineering jobs than there is architecture jobs.
Oh, yeah.
That was a big one. So that kind of changed it for me, and then I was like, all right, we're doing this.
Yeah.
You know, it is what it is, and we'll just get it.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I want to say it was basically the money. Well, that and I did have an uncle that did engineering, so I kind well, that's how I kind of knew that, because I had an uncle that was an engineer, and I was like, oh shit, like if he has a good life, so I was like, well, it's like I could achieve it. Yeah, it was a good example, but that and my architecture was definitely the one where I was like, oh yeah, maybe my mom wanted to be an architecture, but she was a impacted major, so she didn't get to do it, but. Yeah, that would have been
the dream.
The dream. I don't even know because now that when we did engineering, I dealt with a couple of architects, and I don't know. maybe it was a good thing that I was not an architect. It gets a little complex.
Yeah.
And you deal with a lot of people's
opinions
into your.
Why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? Hey, architect.
Like you're not free to design as you wish or as you once thought. Like it's not like if you draw a house and you go like, oh yeah, you want me to build you this, and they're gonna be like, no, I was actually thinking more of this. You're building somebody else's dream.
Yeah,
basically.
But well, guys, I think that's a wrap for episode. It was a nice episode. I think for future episodes, we're pretty much, this is the level of conversations that we have. I think we're pretty honest with our experiences, so we hope to share more of that and bring some fun topics later on. But
yeah, that was a bit of more of a personal touch for you guys to get to know us and how we came up.
Well, it's a good start. How are you gonna welcome us if you don't know us?
Exactly.
I wouldn't even welcome Jonathan, even though I know him.
But I'm the only subscriber we have. What are you gonna?
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want a bumper sticker? A shirt?
Yes.
Yeah, it is what it is. Licensed shirt.
I'd appreciate it.
Well, let us know what you thought on the comments, and if you want us to talk about another college experience, definitely let us know. We can definitely expand on the more fun, entertaining side of it, like the party experiences and all that. But
that'll be for another episode.
That will be for another episode. So yeah, thanks for joining us. Goodbye.
All right.
See you guys.
Catch you guys later.